Assalamualaikum, and a very good day to everyone. Thank you to Institute Sukan Negara for inviting me to share some of our findings, our research team findings on initiative and challenges, including the way forward in order to eliminate any forms of sexual harassment and abuse in sports in Malaysia. All right. And my name is Syahirah, so I'll be presenting on behalf of my team. First of all, I would like to introduce my research team. One of our main researcher is Miss Ina, our moderator from Institute Sukan Negara. And we also have Miss Dayang, and we also have a researcher from UKM, these are all a few universities in Malaysia, UiTM, USIM, and also Taylor's University. So as an introduction, everybody's will agree with this, that all sport practitioners are entitled to safe sport culture and environment. However, there's a serious underreporting of sexual harassment cases due to power relation and organizational culture in sports. So as we heard from the speaker before, definition of sexual harassment, it is any form of unwanted, unwelcome action that made the victim feel unsafe, threatened, uncomfortable, insulted, or angry, and even feel offensive, humiliating, intimidating, abusive, and harmful. So anything that is negative, bring negative to the victim is sexually is a part of sexual harassment, and the worst part is abuse. And there's a negative impact. Various studies shows there's a negative impact on the victims, and it can happen anywhere, including homes, school, stadium, training center, public area, swimming pools, toilet, and even in religious places. So these are some of the cases of sexual harassment happened in sport in Malaysia, and there are actually many more, especially highlighted in the media. And one of the cases is a 50-year-old junior member athlete said that she's being harassed by the team manager. However, there's no further action after she complained to the secretariat. And there's an officer also launched a complaint against another officer, but the case being dropped due to insufficient evidence. A female athlete being asked to undress during the massage session, and she disagreed with it, and she made a report, but again, there's no case, the case being dropped due to insufficient evidence. And there's another case whereby an athlete took her roommate picture in a shower and sent to everyone, and there's no action was taken at that particular time. And there are also few high-profile cases that be highlighted in our media. Okay, and it's again, there's no action taken. And based on our study and also various study made by many researchers all over the world, there are three main parties involved here. Number one, the perpetrator. This is the reason why sexual harassment happened. Number two, the victim. And number three, the third party. Perpetrators are male, majority, although it's against the victims are male. All right. They are usually influence, have the authority and to dominate, unaware or intentionally or even addicted to it. The worst part is some in our society, in many scenarios, it is still culturally accepted, especially when they make it into a joke. All right. The victim happens to women and men. This is not, sexual harassment is not only a women issue, but it's also a men issue. High risk to young people. And it's happened in a few areas and situations. Unaware of his or her rights, they feel powerless and vulnerable after the incident happened. And third, and also before incident happened, they do have lesser power compared to the perpetrator. and they are vulnerable, maybe due to their age or maybe due to their awareness, right? And then third party, the witnesses, the parents, family and friends, administrator, person in charge. Even in Malaysia, we have Police Division 11, whereby they specifically in charge on sexual abuse and harassment, and then crime. And then we do have NGOs such as AWAM, who actually provide training, even take the report that made by the victims. So this is our research journey. It happened in 2013 when there was a high-profile case at that particular moment. So we start with preliminary study on sexual harassment prevalence, and then published in 2015. We did survey. We had a forum. After the forum, we had a focus group discussion, and then we the second research in 2015. We start in 2015. We have a bigger sample of bigger respondents. Then we had survey, awareness video, and also sessions on awareness campaign. And then ongoing, we construct a code of conduct published in 2020, one paper on the risk factor. And we had talks, focus group, consensus, managed to come up with a consensus statement, meeting with various stakeholders, and this is still ongoing. So here is the sum of our sexual prevalence in sports that we have done. First year, 2015, and then 2017. So these are the subject is 80 and then 422. So we can see the prevalent 10% and then 60%. This is our first publication. Then this is our second publication. So for our second publication, we can see that 19% of male athletes experience sexual harassment in sports, while 11% female athletes experience sexual harassment in sports. So overall prevalence is around 16%. Okay, and the perpetrator still 72% are male, teammates 70%, and due to social superiority and not due to high authority. And most of it are verbal, and also physical. So if you can see here, number 2, perpetrators, 70%, as I mentioned just now, 73% are teammates, and then we have spectators, trainers, where it happened at 51% training area, when 46% said it's after training, and the victim's age is 18 to 29, and usually they are 46.3% participated in international level. The effects, there are effects of emotion, negative emotion, and also some health effects. However, most of them said it does not actually last that long, the effect. It disturbs them for a few weeks, then they move on. Then this is our third paper on risk factor analysis. So we do have various stakeholders involved in our focus group discussion, from sport organization, universities, NGOs, and also government agencies. Here we found challenges to eliminate sexual harassment in sports. There are at least 5 dimensions. Okay, here we can see the 5 dimensions. So the first challenge is lack of safe sport policy. We have identified at least 4 main things. Number 1 is lack of mechanism, safe sport policy. And number 2, absence of independent center or committee. And number 3, no clear timeline when the investigation and so forth. And number 4, vague organization structure on PIC. So there's no visibility of who's who, where for them to make the report, and what are the after that, what will be the action taken after that. And these are some of the narrative. For example, if you can see here, one of the person, the stakeholder said, no specific mechanism in sports association. And unfortunately, the second challenge, okay, prevalence of bias, culture, mindset, and stereotype is the most being identified. Okay, number one, people with power preferential. Number two, victim and whistleblower blaming. Number three, sexual harassment is stigmatized as trivial matter. And number four, distrust and credibility issues. Number five, women underrepresentation in sports. And number six, existing stereotypes that exist. And these are some of the narrative. Most athletes are afraid to voice out because the perpetrator is somebody who has power over victim. Okay, and victim also doubtful to report due to the blame culture and stigma and embarrassment and fear. And they assume why need to embarrass themselves when they do not know, and they assume that there's a limited power. There's nothing will happen to the person, the perpetrator. So better to just let it go. And another thing is the family members even encourage them to let go. And another one is an open secret. There's so low percentage of women in a sport managerial, especially in sports association. This is a universal problem. And a challenge number three, a lack of support. It is stated that narrative said that it was not clear who should take charge of the report. And challenge number four, unaware of the existing policy, rules, and initiative. So they do not have legal literacy, unaware of their rights. Most victims, and even most of most people have not really familiar with basic do and don'ts. Okay, what they can do, what they cannot do. So because of that, we do have four recommendations. Okay. Recommendation number one on mechanism and sports policy. Here there are at least six deterrent policies. Sport policy needs to be available, visible, and also accessible to everyone, okay, and can be usable to everyone. And number two, existing law. Number three, protection to the victim. Number four, visibility and accessibility of the policy, as I mentioned. Number five, effective policy monitoring. And number six, coach athlete ethics and code of conduct. In there, it must have sexual harassment clause, okay? And recommendation number two, management support and training and campaign. We have identified six here. And data and impact, recommendation number three, database. We need mental health assessment, impact assessment on the implementation later. And also there's they agreed with a smartphone application in order to report sexual harassment. And of course, recommendation number four is the most important because we do need base power for this for PIC to take action. We need a National Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, and the bill is supposed to be passed this coming November. So hopefully it passed, then it will make all agencies and PIC to have more power to implement Anti-Sexual Harassment Act in any sectors, including sports sectors. Okay, in terms of framework to eliminate sexual harassment in sport, so we come up with this framework for peace, okay, and here we put prevention, procedure, protection, and penalty. So we hope that with this holistic approach, we can eliminate sexual harassment and abuse in sports. Way forward, that our team will, my team will focus on. Number one, inshallah, by end of this year, we get all this thing done. Number one is introduce anti-sexual harassment in sports policy. Number 2, produce guideline and SOP in dealing with conflicts, harassment, and abuse in sports. Number 3, introduce strategic action plan to prevent sexual harassment and abuse in sports. And number 4, we hope that our proposal, and also I think there's a proposal by Kementerian Belia dan Sukan, our sport ministry, to establish a Centre of Safe Sport as independent body for this initiative. And thank you. Let's have a safe sport, and sexual harassment is not a joke. Thank you so much.